Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show. It is officially October 28th, and Donald Trump is still by far, not even close, the best president in American history. And just that alone is going to trigger the libs. That alone is going to make them start their day bad. And that's okay, because bad or good, good or bad, doesn't matter. What we care about is what makes this country great. Now, I hope they have a good day, but there's nothing you can do about that, because they will find something, because of their victim mentality, to make their day bad. And I don't know what it is with those people, but I hope they can find peace in their hearts, because it is terrible to see, whether you're at work, whether you're walking around the streets, whether you're doing something, they are always upset. Have you guys noticed that? The progressive left are always upset about something. It don't matter what it is, man. And they walk around just like it's the end of the world and they're miserable. Trump derangement syndrome, it has to be. There's no other reasoning. Well, folks, it's good to see all of you. We got a lot of news to cover, so let's jump right into it. Donald Trump is being treated like a king in Japan, and everybody's loving it. So he's treated like royalty, man. And we saw this in the Middle East. I'll tell you what, Joe Biden, Barack Obama never got this kind of treatment, not this type of notoriety. Not even close. Not even close. President Donald Trump met with Japanese Emperor on Monday to kick off the Japan leg of the president's Asian tour. Trump is expected to meet with Japan's chief political leader, Prime Minister Sane Takayaki. How about that one, huh? How about that one for 6:03 in the morning? Yeah. On Tuesday, later in the week, the president is expected to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping in what both sides have signaled could be a ongoing trade war. So this might end the ongoing trade war, which would be nice. The emperor, the ceremonial head of Japan, greeted Trump on Monday. So the two emperors met with each other. They said hello. By the way, can I give myself a pat on the back here? I'm truthfully a big smartass. I just don't really say all that much because, again, I'm an introvert. But really, I'm thinking a lot of smart aleck things. You noticed in my title, I said Trump welcome as a king. just when they're scrolling past, and they see America's winning or America first, conservative news. It's just something to put their panties in a bunch in the morning. I am awake. I went to bed very late, but I am awake. I hear great things about her. I think she's going to be great. She was a great friend to Mr. Abe, who was a great man, Prime Minister Abe, and a great friend of mine. He was just a fantastic person. It's so funny how Trump talks. I think she's going to be great. Because again, I've always mentioned he's getting nasally now. He's getting a little bit nasally. I hear she's going to be great. I think she's going to be great. She was a great friend of Mr. Abe. He was a great man. Mr. Abe, and a great, well, all right, I'm not doing it too well. It's tough when you have the headphones on and then you're being nasally, because when you have the headphones on, it already sounds nasally. Well, again, he went there and he signed some hats. It says Japan is back, which is just going to trigger the left even more. Oh, how's he making more hats? You think the Japanese want those? Yeah, I do think the Japanese want those. So here's Trump.
The first female prime minister in the history of Japan. Madam Prime Minister, please say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all. 本日、米国の海軍創設250周年
To say that
I understood everything she said. Trump is a king. He's a dictator. He's an emperor, and he deserves all the best. That's what I heard. I don't know about you guys, but there's a photo of that. What a nice photo. Can I say, Trump has a good smile. I noticed that there was another photo that I looked at the other day. I think, who was it? He was taking a photo with somebody. I'm just like, the guy just has a good smile. I don't smile that good. He just looks like a happy guy. Weird, weird, weird. Well, breaking, Trump and Japanese Prime Minister have just signed an official agreement securing rare earth minerals. The reason why this is a big deal is because of China. China. This is, if you notice, he got the rare earth minerals from Ukraine now. He has the rare earth minerals from Japan, and I believe he has it from 1 or 2 other countries. And this is a big deal is because just in the same way that you're investing, you don't want to diversify your portfolio, or you want to diversify your portfolio. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. And we were relying heavily on China for rare earth metals. And as mentioned, we want to move far away from that because if things go usurpacious and bleep hits the fan, you don't want to be relying on China for literally anything. And I would also like to point out, every time I've gone into a debate and it was about basically the tariffs or world trade or something like that, every opponent I've asked, I said, well, what are we going to do when China invades Taiwan or goes usurpacious? They're not our allies. That's for sure. So what are they going to do? Oh, well, we can rely on our allies for that stuff. Truthfully, we actually can't. We tried that. And that was the great experiment called COVID-19. We couldn't rely on our allies for anything. There was a little bit of PP&E that we could get from them, but the vast majority, no. I mean, and they go, well, we had a surplus. We give everything. We have a surplus of machines. We didn't have a surplus of everything. So no, you can't rely on your allies for everything. And by the way, if you know, China hits the fan, then everything else is bad. So let's see this. I'm liking her so far until she starts talking shit. Then, you know, we'll see. Oh, okay. That ain't me. That ain't unless that static is me. I haven't got new headphones yet. I have not forgotten. Danielle's gonna be yelling at me in the chat. I gave you money for headphones. I know. I have it all allocated. Just got to do it. You know, I'm a cheap ass. I got the money set aside. Was it just my headphones? Hold on, let's handle this now. Was that static of just my headphones? Or was that this? Hold on. No, it was them. It was them.
This concludes the signing ceremony. The two leaders are...
Oh, Jesus, all right. So, again, I'm going to keep showing you a few clips here or there. I don't think Danielle is back. We needed her the other day for our cop correspondence, but whatever. Hopefully she's doing okay. We miss her. Again, he's being treated like royalty, so I'm gonna show you like a few clips here or there. Here she is. I don't know if she's showing him a samurai sword or what the hell she's showing this guy. I think it's a bunch of golf stuff. The hell is that? Is that a whip? Oh, it's a golf club. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's just funny how Trump, he's such a wonderful man. He's just so wonderful. They get along. And the military guys were out there doing the whole shebang, showing how unified we are with Japan. That was cool. Love to see it. There's always some guy that's always like pretending to be chewing on some gum. You know what I'm talking about? That guy. So what's up? So what's up? All right, I think we got another clip here. You think she's awestruck by Trump? She's a pretty tall lady, by the way. I mean, she's in heels, but Trump's tall, man. Well, I should say she's actually pretty short, but you know they put on some heels for her, You got to look big but next to Trump. And when you're a tiny little Asian lady. So now they were trying to spread a bunch of lies about Trump. And there was a few on X yesterday. I think Harry Sisson was one. This nut job that I'm about to post right now was one. And what they're trying to do is correlate Donald Trump to Joe Biden here of saying, well, look how deranged Donald Trump is. She's having to walk him around. He doesn't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, he just showed up to the palace. I mean, he doesn't know step by step literally everything on this massive Asia tour that he's doing. I mean, there is an element of like, yeah, hey, let's go this way. That's what they're trying to do. So they're upset because he kept walking, and she wanted him to stop, but he doesn't have to stop. He already saluted. So he doesn't need to stop and bow. So this is what they're referring to. I don't actually see anything wrong here yet. He kept walking. He went to a spot. Okay, they're going to take a photo. All right. So they're all upset that Trump's like, oh, he's deranged. He's mentally ill. He has no idea what he's doing. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like, give me a break. It's so ridiculous. They love the guy over there. They really do. And that the left hates it. And that's so funny how we over here, all we see is negative news coverage about Trump. I mean, I think it's in like the 90% range that the mainstream media just crap on Trump all day long. And you don't get that in other countries, man. You don't. Watch Sky News over there in Australia, dude. They love Trump. It's great stuff coming from them. So what Trump did was he made an epic entrance aboard the USS George Washington while he was in Japan, and the Navy soldiers just went absolutely bonkers for this. It's a cool entrance. So I would again like to point out the military loves this guy. I was talking to a military recruiter probably like a week ago, and I mentioned like, man, you guys are really hitting your numbers just for the Army. He's like, yeah, we're like crushing it. He's like, it's unprecedented what's going on right now. I was like, yeah, didn't you guys like beat your numbers in like the first like few months? He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't think like he was trying to put in the words like how crazy enrollment is right now. He said it's never been easier. Hold on a second. Let me do this a little bit better. I'm going to make it better. It's not bad. It's not bad. But give me a second. Okay. Just give me un momento, please. Okay. Here we go. I think. I'll get copyright. You gotta let it sizzle. The crowd's there, the Navy soldiers are below deck. Trump's standing there smoking a cigar. Just like Churchill. Trump sizzles it. God, such a good song, man. gotta time this right. Hold on. Ah, damn it, I didn't. All right, hold on. Let me get it right. So badass, dude. With the freaking, what is that, 2 F-35s? Hold on a second. Damn, baby! Yeah, you know what? I apologize. It took a little long. You're right. There's a lot of news to cover, but that was cool. Okay, Trump is cool. Damn, dude. And by the way, I don't mind actually playing a little bit of that long intro from Top Gun. Damn. Guy knows how to make an entrance, dude. And by the way, did you hear the soldiers? They loved it. They were all about it. Well, Trump was also told by the minister that Toyota is going to be putting auto plants all over the United States to the tune of $10 billion.
I was just told by the Prime Minister that Toyota is going to be putting auto plants all over the United States to the tune of over $10 billion. So that's Toyota. So go out and buy a Toyota. And that's a lot to do with, because right now we have all the AI plants. We have so many things happening in the United States. And it's because of November 5th, Election Day, but it's also because of tariffs. And I was just told.
You know, shout out to Trump, man. Again, the guy's working to make America great again. And you know what's funny is that's going to build jobs here in the United States. And you want to know who's complaining about it? Excuse me, Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is out there complaining that Donald Trump is making too many overseas trips. God, the guy's bringing manufacturing back to the country so people can work. That's so terrible. God, dude. Like, why don't you just give the guy congratulations, huh? They can't do it. Of course not. Of course not. Alrighty, let's get to some more stuff. I'm trying to find stuff where we can get some clips going here so you guys aren't listening to me talk all the time. I think clips are always nice to watch, something, some visualization. Well, the government has hit its 4th week. Workers miss pay, SNAP benefits cut off. Things are about to go crazy because 42 million Americans are on SNAP. Isn't that crazy, dude? I don't know what percent of the country that is. We have, 350 million, but I believe that I don't know if that's 350 million adults. I think that's total. That's a huge part of the country is on SNAP, dude. So here's Mike Johnson telling the truth, by the way.
So I brought you a little visual aid here to just remind everybody what the simple facts are. 4 simple facts here. The Democrats are required to open the government. They keep saying Republicans are in charge of government. We aren't, not in the Senate. 60 votes control the Senate, not a bare majority. And so point number 1, Democrat votes are required to open the government. Point number 2, they refuse to do it. They have now voted 12 times to keep the government closed. And they'll have another chance today or tomorrow, maybe multiple times this week, and we'll see what they do. Now, the third point is very important because they've been trying to confuse the American people. They've tried to say this is a fight about health care or this or that or any other thing. And it's very simple. They put this on paper. They made this their demand in writing in the record of the Senate, and it has not changed. These are just 4 subpoints there under fact number 3. But there's many more. But among the things they're demanding, this is what the Democrats in the Senate are demanding to reopen the government. They want to give $200 billion in health benefits to illegal aliens and non-citizens, paid for by U.S. taxpayers. That is in their proposal. They want billions in wasteful programs to be returned to foreign countries.
There's a lot of Democrats. I believe there's actually more Republicans on SNAP than Democrats, but that's here nor there. Isn't it crazy that Democrats, and I'm gonna be an alarmist or an extremist, okay? I'm gonna be like exaggerating this, but there's truth still within this. That Democrats would rather have Americans starve so that illegal immigrants can be fed and get health care. The actual citizens of this country are the ones that are getting reamed from behind. For those that are not actual citizens of this country. I don't know why they're complaining about not having their SNAP. Isn't this what they wanted? They wanted to make sure by protesting in the streets on behalf of illegal immigrants going up against ICE that those people belong here. They belong and they deserve health care. So put your, air quotes, money where your mouth is. Or I guess in this case is your bellies and your tummies. And let's see how much you actually care about this. Let's see. It's like a hunger strike almost.
So we stopped these things. They want to turn it all back on. They're demanding that we do all that to get the government open for hardworking Americans again. They want to give $500 million to left-leaning news organizations, and they want to cut $50 billion from rural hospitals. We will not do those things. And they know that very well. Which leads us to point number 4. The Democrats have now openly admitted, and you all had to cover it last week, that they're using the pain of the American people as their leverage. That was the number 2 ranked Democrat in the House. The Democrat, the minority whip, who said that, acknowledged it in an interview, that this is leverage. And Chuck Schumer himself boasted that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. That's his now infamous quote that he wishes he had not said out loud. But you know what they're doing and why. Why are they demanding these things? Why is point number 3 so essential to them? Why would they do this? Because it's unprecedented, as we've noticed, and reminded you all, they voted for CRs every time it was possible in their lives, as recently as March of this year. But they're doing it to appease their far-left Marxist base. That's the headline. That's why.
Yep.
That's why we're all in this mess. That's why the American people are suffering pain, because the Democrats are more afraid of the Marxist in their base than they are of hardworking Americans.
Facts.
See, they've made an evaluation that they have to appease the Marxist base, that they're so concerned that they'll lose their jobs if they don't appease the far left in their party. And they sat in a back room and they made the calculation that they would rather shut the government down and impose all this pain on the American people because they believe the Marxists, the far left in the base, are more active than hardworking Americans, people who go vote.
It's good.
And so they made the calculation that it's worth it to
now.
them. Every day gets better for us. We'll use the pain as leverage. For what? To prove to the far left base that they won't give in, that they'll fight Trump and fight the Republicans. What are they fighting? It's a clean CR.
Yep.
It's the same level of funding that they have voted for as recently as earlier this year. They are Biden-level policies and spending.
And that's a great quote. What are you fighting? It's the same thing that we've been asking for years about all these leftist liberals that think they're going against the establishment. What establishment are you going against? It's odd. You have the entire entertainment industry. You have the entire literature industry. You have the entire education industry. I mean, every industry is dominated by the left. So what exactly are you fighting against? And they were doing this during Joey's time too. They're like, we're the resistance. We're going against autocracy. They can't even understand them because they're screaming. But it's you're not going against anything. We need trans rights. Okay, what rights are you losing? Like, where's this happening at? Please let me know. Nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. Everyone's confused as you are. Like, but this is what they're doing. And Chuck Schumer just lost one of the biggest unions out there. It might be the biggest union, but it's definitely one of the top. The largest union of federal employees is pushing for an end to the government shutdown, dealing with a major blow to Democrats as the funding fight drags on. The American Federation of Government Employees, which represents 800,000 federal workers, on Monday urged the Senate to approve a clean continuing resolution to end the stalemate. The union, usually a dependable Democratic stalwart, all but endorsed Republicans' plans to end the shutdown in a statement. Look, and I'm not even a fan of the clean CR. I'm not. That's why I'm a little confused. It's all what Democrats wanted. As Mike said, it's Biden's funding. So why not just push it through? You've done it a bunch of other times. Well, I'm not really affected by this. I want to point that out. But if you're a Democrat in the federal government, you're affected by this big time. If you're in the military, you're affected by this. And again, it's kind of a point to be made is you kind of want to not rely on government for anything because they suck at everything. I'll put it this way. When in education, I was never even relying on my pension for retirement. So you have to put money, you can put money, right, for your pension. And then I would put my money down because I follow Dave Ramsey. into some investment portfolios. And I always went with the mentality of, well, I'm not going to rely on the government for a pension. That's crazy. Oh, great. I've always looked at it as, well, that's just, what is it? Icing on the cake or like a cherry on top. That's the way I looked at it as a pension, but I would never rely on government for jack shit. I try not to rely on anybody for anything. So it's always amazing to me that people put themselves and their children in such a situation to where they have to rely on the government for stuff like food, like stamps, like EBT. It blows my mind. And by the way, we're not talking about like, a few months to get yourself, up and out of the pickle that you're in, or like a year or two. Some people have been on it for multi-generations, by the way. Isn't that crazy? Well, it's time for our leaders to start focusing on how to solve problems for the American people rather than on who is going to get the blame for a shutdown that Americans dislike. The president of the union called the shutdown an avoidable crisis that is harming families, communities, and the very institutions that hold our country together. Well, I think both sides on this are really stupid. I blame Democrats more, a little bit of bias in there. But the reason is they're both stupid because you knew that your money was going to run out. This conversation should have been happening a long time ago and getting it resolved. This should have never even gotten to this point, but because these are idiots up there in Capitol Hill that we constantly vote for, they're nut jobs, that they can't even do it. They can't even budget, you guys. And these are the people that are telling you these are the people handling your money, your tax dollars. They can't even budget correctly. It floors me, dude. And then they're going to tell you how to run your business. It's insane. Insane. All right, let's see what else we have here, folks. Charlie Kirk's a suspected assassin. Jesus, suspected assassin, forks, spoons, knives, silverware, Salisbury steak sauce. Jesus, man, I got that list today, dude, and not enough coffee, huh? Is that when you know your brain's going out? Is when you start slurring your words? Is that what was going on with Joey? Do I have Joe Biden syndrome where I get forgetful and I start slurring my words and wandering off and pooping my diaper? Well, Charlie Kirk, suspected assassin. I had to make somebody laugh here because we're about to get into some, well, it's sad because we love Charlie. Assassin scores shocking win in first court appearance. I don't know if this is really a win or you're drunk. I don't really drink that much, man. I've told you guys, I'm as we said in high school, we used to call it straight edge. I can't even. When was the last time I had a drink? Oh, it was a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I went out with some friends. But yeah, I don't really drink that much. I don't really smoke either. I'll have a cigar like every 3 months. Well, anyways, Charlie Kirk's suspected killer, Tyler Robinson, will be able to wear civilian clothes to court, a judge ruled on Monday. So what they were saying was, I'm going to paraphrase this, is that Tyler Robinson would be made out to look like a guilty individual automatically if he was to wear the jumpsuit, and that they would try him as guilty because of that. That's at least what his lawyers were saying, the attorneys. So he'll be allowed to ditch the prison garb when he appears in court, but he'll have to stay shackled. And I don't know if the judge felt like that was a trade-off or something. Not sure. But the Utah judge, Tony Graff, ruled that the 22-year-old accused assassin must remain in chains for the safety of others in the courtroom. The defendant's attorneys had asked the judge's permission for Robinson to wear civilian clothes and appear unshackled in court, arguing that appearing like a prisoner would bias a jury's perception. The defense team made special mention of the amount of attention the case has received. The judge appeared swayed by the defense team's argument, though Graff's sympathy was limited. And there is truth to that. I'm not disagreeing with them, but I wonder if there's more information that has happened that we don't know about, because he's talking about the safety of others. Now, obviously, the guy allegedly deleted somebody, so the safety of others in the courtroom matter. But I wonder if there's anything that's happened since that hasn't been revealed to all of us that he's maybe done while he was in jail. Images of Mr. Robinson in jail clothing are likely to circulate widely and influence prospective jurors. I mean, I don't think him being in that garb is going to really be the factor. This everybody saw this. It's like the JFK assassination. I mean, everybody saw it. I think everybody's already made up their minds, and that's why you're not seeing me spend a lot of time on the conspiracy theories, even though I love a good conspiracy theory, because nobody knows. Some people say, well, it's not him. Some people say it is him. And they're like diehards, you know what I mean? And then there's all of us in the middle that are like, I don't know. I think it might be him. I'm pretty sure it is. It kind of makes sense. Usually the answer is the most simple version. Is that Occam's razor? Is it Occam's razor? I don't know. Usually it's always the simple answer is going to be the result. And the simple answer, sadly, is that was him on the rooftop and he shot the firearm. But, you know, there's also that case to be made that a 30-06, I don't think your spinal cord is going to stop that round. That's true. So that's a little odd. I don't know. I tell you, that part is weird because it was said that they did find fragments and that his spinal cord did stop it or whatever. I don't know. I guess we'll find out maybe from the hearing. Maybe I'm sure stuff is going to get leaked, even though there's a gag order put on it. But whatever, we'll find out. You know, it's just sad. So I think Erica Kirk's actually doing her first interview, and I think it might be with Jesse Waters coming up here. So look out for that. Erica Kirk is going to be doing her first interview. So just pray for her. There was a video I watched yesterday, and it was released by the Charlie Kirk, I think it was TikTok page or something. And it just like broke my heart. They were pulling into the Turning Point USA. I don't know if you call it a campus or plaza. And, you know, Charlie Kirk has a big banner of him out front. And the daughter goes, "Oh, that's daddy." It's like, oh man, dude, it just breaks your heart. I mean, you almost instantly start crying. You know, obviously for what happened to him, we love him, but it's like, man, those kids, they just don't have their dad anymore. And it's just like, oh, there's daddy. It's like, God, man. And even, you know, what's also sad about it? There's millions of people on this planet, especially in the United States, that don't even care. And these are the people that are supposed to be like, what about the children? Always in the education system, you know what I mean? We're fighting for the children. What about them? You know, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, it's his daughter. Whatever happened to the Me Too movement? What about happened to feminism? So that's great. Now the feminist movement is against her having her father around. Is that what we're pushing here? It's just the amount of hypocrisy and chaos from that side of this country is so insane, dude. They always go, the alt-right, the far right. Who is the far right, by the way? Like, can people name, are we talking about, like, is Tucker far right? I don't know. Because they always keep talking about, like, oh, you guys are the racist extremists, you're out there, but it's like, when was the last time you saw, like, by the way, the KKK is not far right. I don't know when this started. The Democrat Party started the Klan. So there was no big switch, by the way. And if you had to make the claim there was, the blacks went to the Democrat Party during the New Deal time to receive the benefits, meaning they got in bed with the racists. So they were part of the Democrat Party with the racists there to get the New Deal benefits. Oh, a long time ago. It was like 100 years ago. Then you have a later switch that happened around Nixon's time, Reagan's time, if you know, 70s, 80s, where you had people switch from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party. But there was no Dixiecrats that switched over. I think they were able to list like maybe one guy, but at the time of the switching, he held no slaves or something like that. I forget. It was like one guy. No big switch. I don't get it, you guys. Really, this revisionist history is crazy to me. I read a lot of history books. Doesn't mean I can just have like a crazy conversation about it, but I at least look for the stuff they're talking about. It doesn't exist, man. That would be the big switch they're talking about. I guess there's two switches that happen at two different times where I guess the racists stayed with your party. I don't know. It's crazy. But I don't see these far right people like we see with Antifa and Black Lives Matter burning down buildings. I don't see them assaulting federal police officers or local police officers. I don't see any of that. And then people say, like, Proud Boys. I don't know. I don't see the Proud Boys out there either. All right. Well, what else do we got? Oh, okay. All right. Zoran Mamdani's back. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm just going to show you a few things, but there's a great piece on the Daily Wire. I think, who wrote this? Was it Matt? A lot of people don't talk about this. Zoran Mamdani is basically out here saying that Muslims are the real victims of 9/11. There's a reason why I don't want to spend too much time on it, because there's just a quick clip. It's not gonna do justice, but it's just so outlandish. The stuff that comes from this Zoran Mamdani.
This moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
There's truth to that.
I want to use this moment.
I mean, there's truth to it, but they're not the real victims. They're not. And when your country is attacked by allegedly a bunch of people that were of a faith that you follow, and that even if you take, there's this famous clip from, Sam, blank on his name, on Bill Maher, and I think it was even with Ben Affleck was on there too. There's a famous clip where he talked about that, I think it was some crazy alarming number are Islamic extremists. And if you take that in totality of like the billion people that follow that faith, you are talking about millions and millions of people that are extremists. Well, if you have a bunch of people that follow that faith that are in one specific area, and if your sample is going to mimic the population of a said area, then you would have to imagine that there's a certain amount of statistical analysis of the amount of people that would be extremists in that area as well. I'm not saying it's going to be apples to apples, meaning if there's 20% Islamic extremists, I'm not saying that specific area in New York City is going to be 20% as well, but it's still going to be higher than it should be. What, 5%? 6%? Still kind of high. I mean, it's something to have you look over your shoulder, that's for sure. Now, does that give you a right to start yelling at people of the faith or not? No, it's silly. But you start asking questions and you'd be right to do so. You'd be right to do so. Like when I see a guy in a trench coat, I start like kind of looking over my shoulder, and it could be a white guy. I'm like, okay, why does this guy have a trench coat on? It's like 90 degrees outside. What is this dude all about? Like everybody, by the way, I think it's always funny because people are like, oh, you can't profile. We profile people all the time. I mean, there's different types of discrimination. It's echoed by Thomas Sowell, who's a black guy, by the way. Amazing. He's my number one guy. In discrimination and the disparities. He talks about two different types of discrimination. We talk about it and we echo that same message in my book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. We do profile people, and it doesn't have to be about race. You profile people all the time, because sometimes you're just in the scenario that he uses in his book, Discrimination and Disparities, is you're walking down the street and you just see a figure in front of you, and it's dark out. You're by yourself. Let's say you're a lady, and what do? Everybody does this for the most part. Is they cross the street and they walk on the other side of the street because it lowers the risk of something happening to you where you wouldn't be able to react quick enough. But it turns out that when you start walking across the street, you see it's a black guy. Oh, well, you profiled him. You're racist now. You're racist. Yes. That's the example he uses in the book. And by the way, it could have been a white guy. It could have been an Asian guy. It doesn't matter. You profiled somebody because you were putting yourself in a situation that is of less risk. And we do that all the time. So what else do we have here in the news? Gavin Newsom is using taxpayer dollars to spread anti-Trump propaganda days before the election. So the California Department of Social Services is texting residents blaming the imminent lapse of food stamp benefits on Donald Trump. I mean, everything's Donald Trump's fault. Your sidewalk in your neighborhood is not even. Guess whose fault it is? And by the way, I am dead serious when I say that. People will blame Donald Trump for the sidewalk outside their house on Donald Trump because they're too stupid. They don't realize anything, that Donald Trump has nothing to do with it. There's people on TikTok. I actually left a comment on a guy. I'm like, well, tell me that you don't know how. I told him to read a basic civics book. He was blaming Donald Trump that he wasn't getting his food stamps. Trump has nothing to do with that. It's crazy. He's the executive branch, nothing to do with it. They don't know how things work. And by I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans. And by the way, I don't know everything either, but at least I go research it and figure the answer out before I do a video usually. Sometimes I get it wrong, but when you're pumping out a lot of content like I do, you're going to get things wrong from time to time. You got to accept it. And then the hope is that your community comes together and says, hey, Brad, you made a little oopsie there, bud. Okay, you made a little oopsie. The Daily Wire reviewed several screenshots of the message, which stated that President Trump and Congress failed to reopen federal government. The CalFresh benefits will be delayed. October benefits unaffected. It's unclear whether the message were sent only to Californians who received food stamps or the wider swath of the electorate. When the Daily Wire reached out to Governor Gavin Newsom's office for comment and to confirm the authenticity of the text, they replied seriously and pointed the finger at Trump for supposedly politicizing the shutdown. So Gavin will start probably campaigning in the next year or two. Remember, his term is up. This is it. I don't have to deal with Gavin's crap anymore. All of you are going to have to deal with this crap because the guy's going to run in 2028. And then Kamala Harris what's today, Tuesday? I believe it was just yesterday, said, I might run again. Look, I've been serving my entire life. Can you imagine having... I mean, this would be a rough one to watch. I mean, we'd have to do it live. We'd have to. Gavin Newsom on that stage. AOC on that stage. Bernie Sanders. Kamala Harris. Pete Buttigieg. Dude, you think they'll chauffeur out Joe again? I mean, the Democratic Party's debate, I actually can't wait. The problem is we have a long time for that to happen. And dude, it's going to be rough to watch. All righty, let's see what else we have here. We covered that yesterday. Okay, let's go to this. Let's see if there's any breaking news for all of you. It's kind of a slow news day. There is that hurricane that's hitting Jamaica, and that's a bad hurricane, guys. That is rough, and it's already bagged the size of it, and then you have 175 mile an hour winds on top of that, which by the way that will like rip your freaking house off its foundation, man. That is some serious winds. The issue is that it's only moving like in like 3 miles an hour. So it's going slow, meaning it's massive devastation. And it's Jamaica. I was just there not too long ago. About 6-7 months ago, I was in Jamaica. Let me tell you, folks, let's just say they're not to code. Okay. Those buildings are not set up for something like that. So pray for those people, man. God awful. This is one that I caught last night that I'm glad it actually is popping up on my feed right now. Whistleblower warns illegal immigrants are sending shockwave through crucial industry. Uh-oh. Following several high-profile deadly auto accidents involving illegal alien truck drivers who California is giving driver's license to, a commercial trucking industry leader is blowing the whistle on the devastating shockwave illegal drivers carrying sanctuary state licenses have had on the industry. Folks, there are illegal aliens that would try to get their commercial license up in, say, Washington, couldn't pass it. Like they'll take it 11, 15 times. I'm not exaggerating, by the way. I think it was like 11 to 15 times, somewhere in that range. They'll fail it. They'll go to California and California will give them a license. And then they go out and delete somebody. That was one of these scenarios. My state, I apologize for my state. Really, the state sucks. It's actually leading to deaths of other people because they're idiots here. You're an illegal immigrant? Here's all this free stuff. Co-owner and vice president of JKC Trucking, which is based in Illinois, told Fox News Digital that in addition to endangering American roads, illegal alien commercial drivers have been killing the trucking business. He said that though the problem has only recently been brought to the forefront of the public consciousness in recent months, drivers and trucking businesses have been feeling the impact for years. Quote, we knew there was an issue right after COVID because the rates dropped down, and we just thought, okay, looks like it's just inflation, meaning they're trying to analyze the situation going like, what's going on here? Why is the work not coming our way? Okay, in the long run, these volumes will go up, and what they were pre-COVID conditions, or just back to regular volumes, and we'll be back in business. But what happened? The complete opposite happened. They went down and stayed down, and we never knew as truckers what was the problem. Well, nobody in their right mind thought that you would be giving illegal aliens, people that aren't citizens, a driver's license. Now, with recent revelations from the Trump Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy about rampant illegal alien truckers on American roads, Duffy issued a bombshell report on Thursday accusing California of violating federal law by issuing a commercial driver's license to foreign asylum seeker who semi-truck crashed and deleted 3 people last week. And there was one most recently, again, horrific, just horrific. So that sucks, right? You're just sitting there on the 405 highway and you're in your car and just a big rig just rams you from behind, just deletes you. I mean, what are you going to do about that? The report alleges that Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom's administration ignored a federal order to halt non-compliant licenses and revoke improperly issued credentials, a failure that, according to Duffy, cost 3 innocent lives. More than that. That's just the most recent quote. Think about how many people have been deleted because Joe Biden, the Democrat Party, wanted to allow illegal immigration to happen in this country by pouring people across the border. So, and we talked about this, Superbad, codename Superbad, Sarah Adams, who is, I think she was either a former CIA terrorist tracker or currently is contracted by the government to track them through open source data. Put it this way, the government has and knows of terrorists in our country present time, as according to her. And she went as far to say that we actually know their license plate of their vehicles. There's terrorists in our country from Benghazi. We covered this it was like a year ago we talked about this. This was kind of echoed when we were talking about how the Biden administration was giving terrorists, the Taliban, $80 million every week to 2 weeks for years. And he was giving it to those that fought against Americans. It's crazy, dude. The world that we live in is so ass backwards. And the part that I will also never understand is I'm the bad guy for bringing awareness of, hey, there's people that are breaking our laws, whether you're a good person or bad person. Sorry, it's the law. If you don't like it, change it. And it's an odd argument to me that people will say, well, they've been here for 30 years contributing. We should just give them citizenship. What have you been doing for 30 years? Not almost as long as I've been on this earth to not get your citizenship. I have a lot of questions about assimilating into this country because if you haven't even gotten your citizenship, you've never actually assimilated into this country to begin with. And yeah, you might be paying taxes to give your family a better life, but I got a lot of other questions about that, about your love of country, because clearly you don't love it that much in order to get your citizenship. Now, I'm being a little bit facetious, but it's a very odd argument. Well, they've been breaking the law for 30 years, so yeah, might as well reward them for it. Like, what? What? Do that in any other country. Do that in any other country. It blows my mind, dude. But I'm the asshole for observing the fact that it's breaking the law and that I don't have empathy. I don't have a heart. No, I do. The empathy and the heart would be, hey, you know what? You can go back to where you came from and hopefully You can get connected to a church that will help you do your paperwork and hopefully donate money so that you can come over here the legal way and that you can actually assimilate the proper way to this country and you can start working again and doing all those things. But I'm the jerk for saying that. And I never understood that the people that are following the rules are the assholes. I was with a coworker yesterday and I have a bunch of rules that I have to follow. And so I was detailing these rules, and you'll get this with the education system now, is that because you're told to follow the rules by your boss, now when you ask students to follow the rules and you call them out for not following the rules or cheating or doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, you're the asshole. And I actually said that to my coworker yesterday when I had somebody and I was having the conversation with them and they got upset with me. And I said, isn't it amazing that when it's my job to police and make sure somebody isn't doing something wrong or is following the rules that I expected them to do, because that's what the rules are, it's laid out on paper, that when you get called out because you did something wrong, the person that's calling you out is the asshole, not you that's doing something wrong. We get like anywhere from 25,000 to 40,000 views a month. For the love of God, somebody leave me a comment, please, or put in the live chat now. Am I wrong here? Am I the asshole for calling out people who are breaking the law? And if so, why? And by the way, I just been starting to say that to students, by the way, and just to people in general. Go, yeah, I'm the bad guy for following the rules and doing my job, but you don't want to do your job and follow the rules, but you're the good person. Gotcha. No, that makes a lot of sense. Bad guy, good guy, bad. Understood. Fuck, it drives me up a wall, dude. And we're supposed to pretend because you have all these leftists that either you work with at your jobs or out there on the streets that if you say something that's obvious of, hey, don't commit a crime, don't break the law. Oh, you unempathetic asshole. Oh, you're so cold-hearted. You don't know what they're going through. You're not living in their shoes. Blah, blah, blah. The fuck? Well, Blue City's homicide increases, flashing red warning light to soft on crime experiment. Uh-oh, here we go. A surge in Boston homicides has experts sounding the alarm, warning the spike exposes the consequences of soft on crime policies. This is where people just act stupid. Everybody knows this because a lot of you are parents in the chat. Everybody knows when you're soft on your children in terms of disciplining, you're going to get more of that behavior of whatever you're soft on in terms of disciplining them for. Everybody knows that. And everybody's seen some little shit at the grocery store that's cussing their mom out or something. And the parent doesn't do anything like, oh, little Jimmy. Oh, well, no, you can't have all that sugar. And then they go and take all the sugar and you go, fuck you, mom, I'll put it in the bag. It's like, it's not rocket science. And by the way, we have psychological data on this. It's obvious. According to newly released data, look at this. From Major City Chiefs Association, Boston recorded 17 homicides in the first half of 2025, compared to just 7 during the same period last year, 143% increase. Now, here's the thing. This is a great example as to why I wouldn't hyper focus on percentages like this. Because there was just 7 and you had 10 more. Now, I shouldn't say just 10. That's a lot of people, right? I mean, there's always that phrase of like 1 is too many. But it went from 7 to 17. And so say they never gave you this part that I've highlighted here. And they just said, according to newly released data from Major Cities Chief Association, Boston recorded 143% increase in homicides. You would think, whoa, that's insane. But the question is, well, you could have had 1 and then jump to 3 or 4. That's why you want to be careful with it. It can be very misleading, the percentages. And they will do that quite often, both the left and right. So always ask that question. What are the actual numbers? Please don't always look at percentages. They are misleading sometimes. Well, homicides fell nearly 20% year over year. My mic just cut out. There we go. Am I back? There we go. Okay, I think I got it fixed. Wendy Murphy, a Massachusetts-based legal analyst former prosecutor and nationally recognized victims' rights advocate, told Fox News Digital the numbers are a flashing red warning light that Boston's progressive criminal justice experiment is backfiring. If law enforcement doesn't have the tools it needs, criminals are emboldened, Murphy said. You'll see a quick uptick in all kinds of crime, including homicides. Yeah, this is no shock. In a way, this article is almost a nothing burger because it's stuff we already know. And we saw that here with Prop 47, that if you steal anything that's $950 or less, it's a misdemeanor. It's a slap on the wrist. Nothing happens to you. And so what'd you get? You got a lot more smash and grabs. And you know who's doing most of it is the juveniles. And so what they'll say is, oh, well, our crime statistics are actually going down. You want to know why? Is because that juvenile crime statistic isn't included in the actual crime data that they're throwing out there. And not to mention, Gavin Newsom hasn't been reporting all the crime data that he's supposed to be reporting. So it's also BS. So you're getting it from multiple sides. Oh, the crime data's down. It's not so bad. You know, it's not a big issue. Look what we're doing. It's hey, how about all those little juvenile gang members that are running around, or these the ones that are not going to juvie for a long time, and then you seal their records so you have no idea how they acted as a kid. Man. It's not like I believe in second chances. Oh, trust me, I believe in second chances big time. I think we should be forgiving people, and I've said that many, many times here on the show. But at the same time, I try my best to follow the law. Do I speed every now and then? Sure. I try to keep it at like 71, 72. I don't know if that's really speeding over 65. I've always said I think the highway should be at 70, but that's just me. And they report it wrong, correct? Yeah, Lulu has it right. Yeah, they report it wrong. All righty, folks. Well, we're going to end it there. Make sure you check out our website, baldbrad.com. We're always looking for contributions, donations to help run the show. I'll send you the link, but if you head over to baldbrad.com, you can help us out by making a dono here. If you just click on that tab right there, it will send you to here. If you want to do $1, $2, you can do custom amount. You can enter how much you want. You just pop in $1. You could do multiple zeros would be nice. $100. You can make it a monthly, weekly. It's all customizable to you. And we get 97% of your money. So we get 97 cents of every dollar. That is way more. YouTube takes 30%, folks. I think it's like 30 or 35%, something egregious of your money. That's why I say always use the website. Try not to use, and I get an email every time you send me a donation. So I know who you are. The YouTube just takes your money. So does Rumble. I love Rumble, but the cut's too big. I don't think, and by the way, I don't think they should be taking 30. I think that's wild, man. Granted, we're using their platform. I get it, but 30%, man. That's a lot. We'll be back here later today for Dark MAGA, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, folks. Open to everybody. And I look forward to seeing you a little bit later. Pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. Read their scriptures. Read a sentence. Read a paragraph. Pray about it. Love you. Have a great day. See you later.